Hello, gorgeous humans, and welcome to the Tiny Talks podcast, the podcast where we take big thoughts and make them a tiny bit more manageable, one tiny talk at a time. I'm your host, Samantha Gerritsen, and today I'm here with Caitlin, and I'm very excited because this is our second episode. That's all I have to say to start off this episode. So, first of all, Caitlin, would you like to introduce yourself a bit? Tell us a bit about you and who you are.
Hey guys, I'm my sister's sister. I'm a year 9 at Nayland College. I love sports. I love going outside. Love scouts. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So that's a bit about Caitlin. We're going to start with something that we said last week that we were going to do every week, which is our highlight of the week. Caitlin, would you like to start with your highlight of the week?
You can go first.
Yeah, I can go first?
Yeah.
Okay. My highlight of the week this week was probably going to the ball. That was last night. That was very fun. Although it has left me with a bit of a lost voice. And I've also been sick this week. So if I sound a bit off this episode, it's because I'm still a tiny bit sick. But that's okay. But I did have the ball last night. It was amazing. My dress was very pretty. I felt gorgeous.
It was pretty slay.
It was pretty slay.
It was.
I enjoyed it. It was a really good evening. And I got some epic photos. So that was really nice. Do you have a highlight of the week now?
I do. Probably going to the sports festival. We went for a day.
Did you have a favourite sport that you did while you were there?
Yeah, rap was good.
Yeah?
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. So that's a bit about our highlight of the week. And what we're going to start each week now is we're going to do a quote of the week. So, our quote this week is, in any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or step back into safety. I think Caitlin wanted to read that out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Caitlin. That's okay, though. So, our episode this week is about change. Hence the quote of the week, talking about that you can either step forward and accept the change, or you can step back into safety. And it's okay to do both sometimes, but it's really cool to step forward and take new opportunities, even if that results in change or something scary or whatever. So, yeah. That's what this episode is going to be about, because Caitlin and I have experienced a lot of change in our lives. Do you want to talk about some of the main changes that we've had as a family?
Well, we moved to a different country twice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's probably our main.
Yeah, and that was quite scary because moving countries means moving houses as well, and moving areas, and moving schools, and changing friends. So we're going to cover a lot of that in this episode, because we both know how scary that can be and how scary change is. So we're going to talk a bit about that this episode and how you can manage that as well. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is changing schools, because we've all changed schools. I think most of us will have changed schools at least once, whether it's going from primary to intermediate, or intermediate to college, or if, I don't know, you've moved schools to a different area before as well. So, we're going to talk a bit about school and the education at the different schools. So, we found that there were a lot of changes in the education system between Thailand and New Zealand. So we're going to start off. What were the complications about the change from New Zealand to Thailand?
I think being really young, because I moved when I was 7.
Yeah, 2017.
2017, yeah. I moved at quite a young age, which meant that I was still developing my brain.
And your social skills.
And my social skills.
Yeah.
So moving and then having to go to a new place and develop all of those with people that didn't speak my language. And yeah, that was quite hard part of it.
Yeah, that was really difficult. I think that as well as that, if we're thinking about the education in specific, it was a lot more difficult there.
It was.
Than it was here, especially in math, I think.
Yeah.
We were both quite competent in English, and we were quite far ahead in English, I think.
Yeah, but our math, it took me 2 years to get up to their level.
Yeah, which was really tough, because when I got there as well, when I started, I was really, really behind, 3 years behind. I moved into year 6,
Yeah.
So you moved into year 3.
Yeah.
And that was really difficult because
of my anxiety and stuff, I was too scared to ask for help.
Yes.
So that was quite slow for me getting into it.
Yeah, because when we got there, I was in year 6, but was at like a year 3 math level. And so you would have been about year 1, year 2 going into year 3.
Yeah.
And so we got there and I had to spend like heaps of breaks and tutor times and lunch times and so on and so forth, trying to like catch up and get to the same level as everyone else.
Yeah.
And that made me feel quite out of place to everyone as well. And we're going to talk more about friends and social life later, but it was quite difficult trying to like find my footing when I couldn't do like the same work that everyone else was doing, and I felt really, really behind in some areas and really, really ahead in others.
Yeah.
Was, I think, another issue.
Yeah, which was the opposite way around, moving from Thailand to New Zealand. Like, we were very far ahead. I was doing year 11 work, as year 7 you were about to be moved up a year.
Yeah, we were both about to be moved up a year to begin with, and like I was doing NCA subjects.
Yeah.
Like NCA level 1 subjects in year 10 because I just found class boring at the time.
Yeah.
And you found the same, and you found it a real issue in intermediate A.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really good point, and I think like moving back here as well, we didn't really know what the education was going to be like when we got back here, because of course we were here until partway through year 3 for her and partway through year 6 for me, so we had skipped about
the school years are different in Thailand.
So we had skipped about 3.5 years of New Zealand school and done that in Thailand, of course, but then when we came back we weren't really sure where we were going to sit in the education and stuff, and then we sort of started in the first couple of weeks we were like, oh, I don't think this is what we expected it to be like.
Because we looked into when we first came here, I being moved straight up to year 8 and you being moved to year 10 straight away.
Yeah, or I think they were thinking about moving me straight up to year 11 halfway through year 10, but I didn't end up doing that, and I'm glad I didn't, but it, like, we found it really, really difficult to figure out what to do with the fact that we knew more than we needed to at the time.
Yeah.
So I think that was
Which means
something.
we were also a lot more mature than all the other kids. And yeah, so we were a lot more mature, and that kind of was hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
especially education-wise, I think we...
Yeah.
Because the way that they taught in Thailand was also very, very different. And it was a lot of, like, student-led projects.
Yeah.
But we were still doing a lot of student-led projects even as we got higher and higher in school. And I feel like here, like, there are so many internals.
Yeah.
Like, Caitlin's in year 10 and I'm in year 12, but
year
12.
10.
Nope, Caitlin's in year 9. But, like, there's, like, so many exams and a lot of, like, having to know a lot of information. And I feel like in Thailand, like, as you got higher and higher up, it would... A, the material was more difficult, but B, you were also having to run everything more student-led as well.
Yeah.
And so, like, I know that in history, for example, we had a lot of history projects, and we would have to, like, make a presentation about it and then present it to the class and answer questions. Or we'd have to, like, make a video over a few weeks of different information about stuff. And it was all student-led and student groups. But here, it's very much, you get taught the information, you have to do a write-up of a paper, and that sort of thing. And I feel like having more variation in the types of assessments we were doing had a bit... Because I know that you did a lot of craftsy stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
you
did
were
a lot.
younger
We did
in
do
Thailand.
a lot.
Yeah. Like, I know that... I mean, you only did year 3 through to year 6 in Thailand, but I remember you coming home with all of these projects. Do you remember any of the projects you did?
Oh, yeah. I do remember some of them. We, like, made houses and stuff, and we do quite a bit of cooking during classes. Like, I made a cake thing, sedimentary rock thing. It doesn't really matter, but we did do a lot of crafts, and here that's kind of different. Where it's a lot more book and paper and computers, and it was quite good having to do a lot of arts and crafts, but I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
And also some of the experiences that we got there.
Yes.
Like, I went on school trips into the jungle. You went to, like, Napier. No, not Napier.
Napier?
No.
I went to Nepal.
Nepal.
Yeah. And, yeah, I think that's the main thing, because our last school was an MIT STEAM school. MIT? Or is that
Nord
here?
Anglia.
Nord Anglia, and we had STEAM and stuff. And so a lot of our classes, especially in primary school, would revolve around, like, team building exercise things and how can you interact with others through science and design and arts and engineering and that sort of stuff. And so we learned a lot of, like, more niche skills, I think, than we do here. But yeah, the experiences and stuff that we gained in Thailand, I mean, it was like, we got to go there because of Dad working there, but it was like a private school.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of money and funding for us to be able to go to new places and experience new things.
There were smaller classes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a major one.
Like, I had 18 kids in my class one year, 16 actually, I think it was.
Yeah.
And here we have 32, 34 kids. Like, that's quite a big difference, doubling your class size.
Yeah.
And the classes here are small too.
Yeah.
Like, it's so loud, and in Thailand it was a lot more, like, sharp. And going from a private school, international school, private school, to a public school in New Zealand, was quite hard.
But I think as well, like, these two different schools also have very different things that they focus on.
Yeah.
So Regents, which was our last school, was a very sports-based school.
Yeah.
And it had, like, the Lions, which was the name of all of our sports teams, and it had basketball and all of these things. And sports was its own major subject, and we all had different groups and stuff, and it was all on the same line. And it was, like, streamlined? No. What's it called when they put it? Oh, they had sets. So there was, like, the people who were the best at PE, and then next best, third best, fourth best.
Which was top set PE.
I was top set PE, but we don't talk about that because I probably shouldn't have been in that class. But but like it was a very sports based school, which was great for someone like Caitlin. But Nayland, one of the we've been talking a lot about what we liked about Thailand, but Nayland has so much stuff for people to do. Like, it has amazing arts. I mean, I might be a bit biased because I'm an arts kid and my dad is the head of performing arts, but it has amazing arts. It has amazing sport too. It has amazing academics. NCA is a lot different to GCSE, which is what we were doing in Thailand.
Yeah.
And like, if you look at the year 9 and 10 modules, which you can talk a bit about after this, or talk a bit about now, there's like there's such a big range of things. Like,
there's a massive range, and including in academic and sport classes, like, you can take extension on both, and I take extension on both.
Yeah.
And there's a lot you can do, like, you can do anything from a weightlifting program to going down to the beach and doing coast to coast and stuff like that, and there's a massive variety to pick from, which we didn't really get as much of in Thailand. It was more like structured out. You had to do this, you had to do that. Well, different for me because I went to a primary. But still, I don't know. Yeah, so different.
Secondary school in Regents, what you would have to do is you had to take basically every single subject. So you had to do dance, drama, music. You had to do the core subjects, so English, maths, science, PE, and then you had to do design technology, which was like wood tech. You had to do computing, ICT, I don't know if I said that already. Then you had to do history, geography, art, and 2 languages. So you had to take Thai, and then you had to take one other language, and we both took Spanish in the end. But that's a lot of subjects, and you often find yourself doing a lot of things that you just don't want to do. Like, I didn't want to do sports, I didn't want to do geography, I didn't want to do computing ICT.
It's the same as for me in Thailand. How long were your classes?
Well, we would have, like, it was like 8 periods a week. No, sorry, 8 periods a day, and they were all 40 minutes long, and we'd sometimes have a double period for 80 minutes. 80 minutes of math.
80 minutes of Thai.
Definitely.
Like, 80 minutes of Thai, which was a language I couldn't speak at all. Sitting in a class for 80 minutes was torture, not to the language itself, to the fact that I couldn't speak it and I didn't know what was happening in the class.
And I think that's what I love so much about here. I know that the juniors have to take certain subjects, like you have to take a certain amount of arts or something, right? Or is that not the same anymore? Only in year 9. But I think it's good that, like, in year 9 you get a little bit of a taster of everything. Then in year 10 you get to specialise a bit more, and then as the years go on you get to sort of focus in more on what you actually want to do, starting from year 10.
Like, next year I'm doing, well, I've signed myself up for 4 different sports subjects. Whereas this year I had to take drama and performing arts and dance. I don't like performing arts.
We're very, very different, by the way.
No offense to my parents.
Or to me.
Or to my sister. But, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what I like so much about Nayland, and the amount of opportunities that Nayland has for people of different interests and niches is so incredible.
And the deans actually listen. Like, if you go...
I love the deans.
Yeah, like, if you go to your dean and say, I want to change my subject, they change my subject for me.
Yeah.
Out of, like, metal or something. But they do change it here. Whereas in Thailand, you couldn't at all.
I think that the deans are amazing, and they've been able to really help support me and, you know, get me the education that I want to help me feel like I'm achieving the most out of school.
Yeah.
And I think the teachers are amazing. Like, this year, I'm very happy with the subjects I've chosen. I've taken English, math, psychology, dance, drama. And, like, that's such a good, like, lot of subjects for me, and I love my subjects, and I get excited to go to each class, because when you're doing the things that you actually want to do, it means that you actually enjoy what you're doing, which is quite nice in school, you know? So yeah, I think that's really good, and I think a positive change about coming back to New Zealand was that we have now been able to specialise more into what we want to specialise in.
Yeah.
And she can focus on her sports, and I can focus on my performing arts at the same school.
Yeah. I think also sports in general, like, I had a chance here. The horse riding there in Thailand was much better. The swimming here was much better.
Yeah.
So both had their ups and downs.
Yeah.
And you would dance. You had a Thai dance teacher, like...
I couldn't understand what the teacher was saying, and I had to basically do most of my lessons through translations from the other students, and I love those kids. Like, they got me through dance, and I still, you know, got dance training, and I'm glad that I was able to get that. But I love Legacy. I think Legacy's great, and I think it's good for what I want to get out of my dance education and stuff as well, which is good. You know, I think then going to Thailand and having a very different experience where I didn't really get what was going on was a good base starting level for all of my technique. And then I've come here and I'm getting, like, musical theatre training, and I'm getting, you know, more extended training, and I like that a lot.
Things like that realize and make you realize how good you had it before sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you and dance probably before, when you moved to Thailand, you probably thought that was rubbish. Here, horse riding has taken us so long to find a place for me to horse ride.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that shows as well that it just takes time to find what's going to sit right. And it might take years and years and years, but...
yeah.
You know, it means that what am I trying to say? It means that we've slowly started finding our footing now, and that's quite cool. We've talked about school a lot, so we're going to move on to talking about friends and social change, which, especially for teenagers, is quite a big thing. Do you want to start off this one?
Yeah. I think going back to what I said at the start, and me being quite young and moving, I was developing a bunch of friends at that point, which had been with me since I was 0, since kindy. And then to leave those people behind, me being a super anxious person, like, I was so anxious. Moving from there and having separation anxiety really took a toll on me.
Yeah.
And we even had meetings with my teacher in year 3 because I wasn't making friends because I was so anxious all the time. And my teachers helped me a lot with that.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me notebooks that I could write in and then give to them so I didn't have to talk to them face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends and making friends after a move are really, really difficult. When we moved to Thailand, I was like 10, and 10-year-old Samantha was overly extroverted and wanted to make new friends and loved talking about Harry Potter and was just a bit of a nerd. I love her. I love 10-year-old Samantha. She was adorable, but she just found it very difficult to make friends and to find people to sit with at lunch and at morning tea. And ended up talking to her teachers a lot, and
That makes me feel sad.
but it took about 7 months, but I eventually found some pretty epic people. I don't know if you're watching this, Ayun or Ben or anyone, but those like people who let you sit with them at lunch and will talk to you, pretty cool people. But it is difficult to make friends. We found it very, very difficult to make friends for literally polar opposite reasons. You were too introverted, I was too extroverted. Yeah.
I did end up finding some pretty good friends. Izzy, Amy, shout out to you guys.
But that also does make it difficult when you have to leave those people.
Yeah.
However.
And I lived on campus. Well, we lived on campus, which was with boarders and other kids and their parents. And I'd spend every night out there till 6 o'clock playing with my friends. And then growing really close with them over 3 years, we were having sleepovers every weekend.
Yeah.
Wasn't an understatement on that. Like, we were
you
always
just, like, go
together.
around to different houses, eh?
Yeah, and then leaving that and coming here where I wasn't allowed out past dark, where it was always, like, I couldn't leave without a phone, and it was a lot different, and I think leaving those people was really hard for me, and it took all of year 7 and year 8 for me to, like, finally find people. Like, Maddie, Lucy, shout out to you guys, you better be watching.
Yeah, but that's another point. In Thailand, Caitlin had most of her friends living on site with us, and none of my friends lived on site. And I was in this really awkward place where everyone on campus was either younger than me or older than me.
Yeah.
And so I sort of awkwardly sat in the middle, so I found it really difficult to form friends outside of school.
Yeah.
But I did find some pretty cool friends, and I'm still in touch with Ayun specifically to this day. And she's probably one of my best friends, and it's the sort of thing where someone sticks around even when you've been able to move across the sea. That that's a pretty cool friend. So,
I'm still in touch with Ellie, kind of with Izzy.
Yeah. And that's always really nice. Having a little connection back to where you were. And, sometimes I still get a bit sad about the fact that I'm not, like, friends or, like, really, really close with those friends anymore.
Yeah.
And that's really tough, having to, like, be like, well, I love these people, but I can't be with them at the moment. It's the same...
long distance is just really tough in general.
Yeah. And trying to stay in contact. But Ayun is also one of those people who, like, I won't talk to her for, like, 3 months.
Yeah.
And then we come back, and then we talk, like, we never stop talking. And finding friends like that is real cool, even if they live really far away.
I think if you both want to stay with the person and be in a long distance relationship, friendship, then it can work. Yeah. Like, people normally have stories of how it doesn't work and how they stop talking to their friends.
Yeah.
But it does work.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, it's good, and we get to go back. We're going back to Thailand at the end of the year, and we get to see all these people, and it's going to be so exciting. And I'm very excited for that. It's going to be very cool.
Yeah.
And we get to reconnect with all of our old friends again. So yeah, I think that is another point to bring up as well. We sort of talked about it a bit earlier, but it takes time to find your people. It takes time to, find the friends that are going to stick with you for life. I mean, Dad tells us a lot about his good friends now. So the Garys and all of his friends now. He didn't find them until he had left school, and now they're some of the people he considers his closest friends. And so if you currently feel like you're a bit alone and you don't really know who to hang out with and stuff, that's okay, and you'll find your people. And Mr. G, who's one of the coolest humans ever, didn't find his good friends until after he'd left school. So it's not it's not a reflection on you if you still feel like you're out of place. It sometimes just takes time. And I mean, we've struggled to make friends for different reasons and find our footing for different reasons, but we started getting there slowly but surely.
Yeah, like, some advice from me is just to do what you love and to honestly, like, this sounds kind of cringy, but be your own person.
Yeah.
Because when people are going to come up to you because of who you are, and on the first day of school, I sat with some scouts, which I didn't realise were scouts, obviously, and then they kind of dragged me into what they liked, and then I met people through scouts. I have some of my best friends through scouts now, and just start doing stuff you like, and the people will kind of start coming to you.
Yes.
As such.
That's so important to remember, and, like, you have to accept the fact that finding your people is not going to happen overnight. Finding the things you enjoy and is not going to happen overnight either. Or finding the place where you can express the things you love is not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And it's okay for it to take time. We're going to now move into the last segment of this podcast, which is about dealing with change and trying to figure out how to manage that after you've experienced some kind of change. So, let's start with, what were some of the ways you dealt with the change of moving in particular?
I think trying your hardest to find friends.
Yeah.
Like, just going out there, sitting with people, just hanging out, asking if somebody wants to, like, come over for a bit, which can feel, like, nerve-wracking and really out there, asking somebody to just talk.
Yeah.
But it does help a lot. Like, I found my people pretty quick, and I talked to them quite a bit about what I was feeling.
Yeah.
And they helped massively with leaving my favourite place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And, you know, on the first day that I started at Nayland, I had my new student orientation, and there was me and one other girl starting in the year 10 class. I went and sat with her, and, like, we're not the best friends in the entire universe, but, you know, it's important to go and find someone and to sit with them, because a lot of people are really cool. And, you know, it was a new student orientation. We were both in the same place. We were both nervous to talk to anyone. We were both nervous trying to figure out what was going on. But it just made the day a bit easier knowing that there was someone else in the same situation as me. And, you know, that's what this podcast is about, trying to connect to people and show you're not alone. There is someone else who is going through or has been in the same situation as you.
Yeah. You can always go counselling.
Yeah, counselling's great.
And just talk to people, because talking to people can help a lot.
Yeah. And they're a great support system, and I know it can be scary going there. And just booking in one appointment if everything feels a bit overwhelming, and just being like, hey, I just want to talk to someone for an hour or 30 minutes, and you can do that, and they're really cool at just listening to you and giving you some feed forward on what you can do. Good point to bring that up. I've written down a couple notes on here, saying that a couple things I did was calling people back from wherever I was. So when I moved here, I tried calling Ayun and stuff, and when I moved from
family,
calling family, and keeping in touch with family is really important, especially when we moved.
I think that was a big thing of change, which we haven't talked about, which was leaving New Zealand, going to Thailand. We had been close with our family, less than 3 hours away by plane or whatever. But we were all really close to each other, and we see our grandparents at least once a week, and we were super close. And then when we moved 10,000 kilometers away, it became a lot different.
Yeah,
and a lot harder to realise that you don't have those people that you did. So coming back here again and seeing all of them was awesome.
Was really, really nice.
Yeah.
And that just reminds you of the people that you enjoy spending time with and the people who make you feel more like yourself.
Yeah.
And being able to reconnect with that people is really, really nice. We're going to do one last little question before we move on to our outro. Looking back, what were some things that you wish you could have told your 2017 and 2022 self in the middle of the move?
Oh, jeez.
It's quite a big question.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Things will come to you eventually. I spent a lot of time waiting and hoping that I would have some friends show up, because I never really had best friends for year 7 or year 8. And yeah, just it takes time and it'll be fine in the end.
Yeah. I think that goes back into the quote of the day, quote of the week, and how you need to step into growth, and that just waiting for things to happen to you and waiting for friends to come to you may work, but it's also important to take a step forward and be like, I want to make change, how can I do this?
Yeah.
And I make a post on my Instagram page that goes along with every episode I do. Of course, this week's one is going to be on change, and there's going to be some great resources on there if you're struggling with change at the moment, or you don't know how to manage change, because change is unfamiliar, and it's scary, and it's uncomfortable, and you don't know what's happening. So it's important to,
Also, moving to a new school, any year 8s or year 6s.
Yeah.
Probably not year 6s watching this.
Yeah.
But year 8s moving to Nayland or moving to a new school can be really hard. It was alright for me because I had my whole family at Nayland already.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of friends already there. But moving there, maybe your friends aren't all moving there with you or something like that. It can be quite hard to get to the school and think, oh, this is going to be okay when you don't have anyone there.
And heaps of people in Ireland are the most amazing people in existence. So, don't feel scared to, go up to a year 13 or come and find, if you're going to Nayland and you're a year 8 watching this podcast and you see one of us or you see one of the previous, and you see Pagan, who was the previous guest, or any of the other guests, so many people are so happy to help. And sometimes all it takes is going up to someone, even if you don't know them, and saying, hey, how can you support me? Can you help me find this classroom? Or do you know where I can sit at lunch? Or anything like that. And people will be happy to help you. I think people seem scarier sometimes than they actually are.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People have all gone through change and have all gone through scary experiences and want to be able to help you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think we're going to wrap up this episode now. We're going to do our outro. Do you want to say the outro with me?
Yeah, man.
I know you wanted to do that. Okay.
Thank you for listening to Tiny Talks. Remember, you are kind, you are beautiful, you got this, and I'll see you next week.
High five.